I want to break down the first matchup for you guys, and both teams have a losing record early on in the season. I am very surprised that one team did put up a very, very good fight. Um, one team's 1-2, the other is oh no, they're both 1-2 teams. My apologies. Um, Bye week blues and injuries are really, really hurting one team, and the other team is starting to show a little bit of life. A little bit. It's almost saying like, "Don't count me out yet." Talking about David K taking on Alan Williams. I'm going to make this short and sweet. Um, Look, bye week blues. I totally understand it. I get it. Bye week blues are even worse when you have a zero RB team and you don't have enough receiver depth, though. And I think that's a big, big, big concern here. I'm going to make this short. I'm going to make this simple. Okay, unless Brissett, Mike Evans, and Mike Thomas explode for 40 plus on each, this is going to be a bad. Not I don't want to use the word bad, but it's going to be a underachieving performance out of Mr. Williams. Um, everybody needs to have a career game for this team to go off. Paris Campbell will probably get a start, so you might look at an upside flyer there. Ty Johnson might be utilized in a game where I expect Detroit to trail. But look, I'm just trying to find some positives. I don't want to be Mr. Negativity over here, but it's going to be it's going to be tough with the amount of depth that this team is putting up. And I know that David Cryer does not have a tight end due to George Kittle being. Oh, no, he picked up Vance McDonald, but if he plays, I mean, whatever. Bottom line is this: Alvin Kamara, Derrick Henry, Brandon Cooks, Allen Robinson. I think those guys have a safe enough floor. I will say that Evans and Thomas have better upside, but Robinson and Cooks, if at least one of them gets a touchdown, I think knowing that there's so much uncertainty, I feel like David K should wind up winning this game. The totals are not very, very, very promising, though. I mean, one team's not even projected to get into 100 points. This is what happens when you go zero RB. I mean, it's becoming a trend now. I feel like that next season, that's going to be put on the map. You can guarantee it right here. You heard it first. Just the way the NFL is moving, just the way these picks are working out. But if you don't have the depth, it can really, really damage a zero RB team. And the other guy I just want to touch on really quickly before I make the prediction. I do believe that O.J. Howard is going to steadily get involved. I do believe that he is a buy low. Unfortunately, Alan, you can't sell him, and I know you never sell your players because you still expect perfection out of them. But I feel like you could have had the better opportunity to sell him maybe if David Njoku didn't get injured. Unfortunately, you can't do that now. But I do feel like if anybody is in the market for O.J. Howard, absolute buy in my opinion. There's going to be times where Arians has to realize this guy is good. He's going to get open. I got to feed him the rock. He's just too talented to just be this bad. I would buy low. If Allen is really, really reeling for a running back or something, man, definitely buy on O.J. Howard. Oh, and by the way, David K wins. Okay, two teams coming off of a loss. One team riding high at 2-0. The other team still trying to find their first win. Ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't get any easier than this from here on out. Talking about Matt Lewis Todd. Already having a donut from Nelson Aguilar. And burst unlike Aguilar. Yikes. Ouch. Funny thing is, I feel like I do this every year, okay? All right, like Lewis, his team on paper after the draft, I always feel like he can be sneaky because it looks good on paper all the time, and it's the weirdest luck that this kid has. I know I don't want to use the term luck, but it's like there's a lot of promising stuff, and I'm not even insinuating on the AB thing, like the Todd Gurley thing. Like I wasn't big on Gurley, that's why I took Aaron Jones over him. I get that, but jeez, man, like I didn't expect Gurley to be this bad. Like, yikes. But there are a lot of promising pieces that he has. Unfortunately, I think he needed a full roster to kind of fully unleash these pieces. Let's get into the matchup. Kyler Murray taking on Jared Goff. Murray has not lived up to the expectations that I felt like he was going to be for a fantasy quarterback. He's getting the job done, kind of. 25, 16, 21. You'll take that as a starting quarterback, but I do feel like this guy is going through still rookie growing pains. I mean, last week, some of those picks, I don't know what he was thinking. Bottom line is I feel like this guy's going to have a safe established floor due to the amount of plays that they run. So you should be fine there. Jared Goff. Give me Jared Goff at home versus Jared Goff on the road, taking on Tampa. I do feel like he should be okay, but you're now noticing a trend here, guys. 11 points, 21 points, 18 points. This guy should be he should be a 30-point gem. He should, with the amount of talent that he has around him. Problem is with McVay's system, and I'm going to continue to say this, McVay needs a solid running game for Goff to get unleashed because all of his money plays are off of play action, and it makes the reads a lot more easier and better for the talent of Jared Goff. Gurley's not running the ball. This is why you're only getting mid-teens to low 20s point games. Tampa was just torched by Daniel Jones, and I understand that completely. But if they can't get the run game going, I know Goff will probably still throw for 2 touchdowns, but from a fantasy aspect, I'm really, really concerned about Jared Goff in the fantasy department. And with that being said, in a game that could potentially shoot out and both quarterbacks, I do like Kyler against Seattle's leaky defense just a little bit more than Jared Goff. Kenny G, Marquise Brown, and I guess we're just going to say McCole Hardman because Matt's going to win this matchup due to Aguilar. But Hardman is in a great situation in Kansas City. He's the deep threat. He's going to open up. And the best part about him is he's never going to see double coverage. So Andy Reid is going to call at least 3 plays where he can get open and coin flip. 33% of the time, he's probably going to catch one and go deep. I expect that to happen again. Kenny Golladay, on the other hand, I expect him to bounce back in a huge game where he killed all my DraftKings lineups last week. He was one guy who I set my lineup as first against the Eagles. I can't believe this guy just busted so bad last week. Yikes. He's going to get off the schneid here. Marquise Brown, without the services of Denzel Ward and Greedy Williams, should also eat. So I'm going to take Matt in this one. Dalvin Cook, Joe Mixon, Todd Gurley, Chris Thompson. Haven't been a big fan of Mixon. Dalvin Cook is absolutely amazing, but he has the worst defense. Bottom line is I still think that this guy is matchup proof. I do feel like, look at these numbers, 25, 26, 22. Well worthy of where Matt had selected him. And the plus side is that he's healthy. He has not been listed on an injury report. You got to love it. You got to love every minute of this guy running the ball. Todd Gurley, Chris Thompson. Gurley, no. It's not happening, man. I'm sorry. I just feel like this guy, he's not 100% healthy. They're hiding him. They're covering up for the fact McVay's anti-Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll, he says something, I trust it 100% of the time. Gurley, on the other hand, with Sean McVay, he lies, man. He covers up stuff because he doesn't want to have his players feel discouraged when they ask about, what about Gurley's knees? Why didn't he get it? No, the defense, no. This guy's clearly not healthy, and I think that the Rams are realizing that they have to kind of move on from him. I think that's what's going to happen. Chris Thompson, I love this matchup a lot for Chris Thompson. Now, reason why I not drafted, that's not a word. I'm a freaking teacher, should know that. Chris Thompson. I don't want him because there's no touchdown equity, and I know he gets catches. Last week was very, very interesting to see him getting 7 rush attempts, but he's going to rack up catches, and he's a solid floor. I feel like Chris Thompson is really good for 0 RB teams if your receivers are stacked. I think he does just enough. In this game against the New York Giants, I expect this game to be a very, very big shootout, by the way. Mr. Thompson should get a lot of balls thrown his way regardless. I don't know about the touchdowns. I think that one year it just flukily happened for him. But I got to go with Cook and Mixon. Despite the bad matchup for Dalvin Cook, I just feel like there's more safety there. Will Dissly is fantasy relevant yet again. And Austin Hooper, who I didn't even acknowledge, and then I want to apologize to that, Lewis, because I didn't even realize he had 12 week 1 in a solid game. Philly, he didn't do anything, and now he has 21. I mean, this guy... this could be something here, so I apologize for that.
But I love Will Dissly against the Arizona Cardinals. I mean, look what Greg Olson did. Will Dissly can have a big game. That sucks. Marlon Mack, awesome. Matt, I don't think he would have won regardless, but I don't understand why you benched him. I know I wasn't big on him with his calf injury last week, but whoever you put him in for, I would have never done that. But I think you can't bench Marlon Mack now. Terry McLaurin, Scary Terry, or F1, whatever the hell you want to fucking call him. Dude, 21, 14, 16 in a game where they're going to be airing it out yet again. I know the hamstring could really, really be, maybe he comes crashing down to earth because of injury. I love all the Skins passing attack options in this matchup. This is going to be a really good shootout of a game. Defense, Matt, I don't even know if you have one, but I don't think it should affect you that much. On the opposite end, John Ross, Curtis Samuel. John Ross, nope. Finally had a dud game. Curtis Samuel, I do like a lot. I think Kyle Allen has... I don't know what to think about Kyle Allen. I think he's a serviceable starter, but I do feel like the more and more weeks he starts, the more game film you're going to have on him. Bottom line is Samuel was targeted heavy in that game. But I still got to go Mack and McLaurin. Bottom line, I don't think it gets any easier for Lewis going down with all these injuries and these guys. You're starting to see it now, too. Sony Michel has been abysmal other than touchdowns. Jarvis Landry has not been fantasy relevant. Baker Mayfield has not been. There's been a lot of, swings and misses. I think Matt will rebound and find himself 3-1 after this week.
Next matchup I want to break down for you guys really quickly. Now, I actually did think that coming into the week that, now granted, anything could happen, and I know that mentality, and I do feel like that this matchup could have definitely lived up to the hype. One team getting off the schneid with its first win of the season, taking on a team that was riding high. I wouldn't say it came back down to earth because I do like a lot of pieces on this guy's team, definitely. But ran into some bumps in week 3. But I expect him to get that figured out. However, the Packers game that had happened for Johnny has really put him in his happy place right now, to say the least. When I look at this, though, I am not big on this offense going forward from a fantasy standpoint, from the passing attack. I do feel like it's going to be very hit or miss. I think Matt LaFleur taking over is very, very conservative. The one thing you will have going for you, Johnny, though, is just looking ahead of the future. If Jamal Williams is at any point ruled that he might miss some time, then I do feel like LaFleur is going to say, all right, look, Aaron Jones, I'm going to have to limit you to the 15 touches, and we're going to have to open up the passing attack a little bit more because they do not want to ground and pound Aaron Jones 20-plus times, especially with no backup behind him. I mean, Danny Vitale is a freaking fullback. Dexter Williams on the practice squad can't even make the team. So I do feel like maybe things are looking up from the aspect of Jamal Williams getting hurt. I know I don't think I'd ever say that, but I do feel like when the Packers are up and whatever, yada, 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 they want to run the ball. They want to be as conservative and hide their plays. I feel like they have to move on to plan B and kind of be a little bit more balanced moving forward. So maybe you found something here, Jay. All right, let's take it. Can Dak Prescott get over 29 fantasy points against the New Orleans Saints? I'm going to steer on the side of caution. I'm going to say no, and I think Dak puts up 22 points. Julian Edelman, Devontae Adams dropped 23. Can Cole Beasley and Christian Kirk do the same? I'm also going to say no. I think Adams might have a chance to outscore both Kirk and Beasley, but harsh, my man. I will say I like this Beasley call a lot. John Brown scares the living you-know-what out of me against New England. Who does Bill Belichick game plan for? It's a coin flip. Is it Josh Allen and just keeping him safe? I think it could be one of those things where Belichick doesn't bring a lot of heat. I think he brings up a lot of zone coverages and a lot of bracket coverages in those zone coverages and hopes that Allen might make a questionable play with his arm rather than his legs. With that being said, the zone coverages that New England plays, they play very, very deep. They let everything get in front of them.
Cole Beasley could have a weird stat line such as 10 catches for like 66 yards. I don't know, man. Weird. But I like it for fantasy aspect. Christian Kirk against Seattle. Kirk has just been a really good low floor guy, 9, 14, 11. I think you're liking this production a lot. And he's in the air raid offense, if you will. Damiere Byrd, this is interesting. Damiere Byrd is going to miss this game. Damiere Byrd runs the most routes. He plays the most snaps, but he doesn't get that much production. And I think fantasy experts are starting to realize that Damiere Byrd is the guy that keeps the defense honest, and Kingsbury wants him out there so everything can open up underneath. They don't want to throw a bomb downfield, if you know what I mean. So with that being said, it's interesting to see how they work this out. Christian Kirk, could he be the guy? Remains to be seen. Larry Fitzgerald has been good. I know the targets have gone down a little bit, but could this possibly open things up for my man, Keyshawn Johnson? Only time will tell, folks. But bottom line, Johnny's got the receiver matchup locked up. Okay. Harsh. Get ready for the Austin Eckler swan song. You hate to see it. I know you wanted at least 4 more weeks of this amazing production, and rightfully so. I did too. I was enjoying every minute of it, but Melvin Gordon is going to take his job after this week. So you do have Melvin Gordon, so it really doesn't affect you that much. Unless it's a committee, then that would suck, but I don't think that's going to be the case. David Montgomery, I don't know about him either. McCaffrey and Kerryon Johnson. All right, Johnny, start stroking your dick. Christian McCaffrey, my God. My God. Nikki misses you, boy. Nikki misses you. That's all I'm going to say. And I know you miss playing for me too, Christian, but unfortunately I didn't get that number 1 pick. So you're going to have to do things for Daddy J. And he'll do just that. Okay, Johnny, mark it down. Mark it down right now. Get a pen, get a pad, put it in your freaking phone. I don't know what you want to do with this, but listen, this is going to be the 1 week where I absolutely adore and love Kerryon Johnson. I don't know why. I just feel like this Kansas City defense just doesn't give a shit. Like they're so like, whoever plays defense on the Kansas City Chiefs has the best job in the world. They just let Pat Mahomes take care of everything, and they can only go at like 50%. Who cares? Kerryon Johnson is going to look like an absolute beast in this game. I agree with the projections, the 105 to touchdown 17 points, but I'm even going to smash that even more to 25 fantasy points. I feel like Detroit might come out early. Their first drive, their scripted plays are going to look amazing because the teams that are underdogs, their first drive always usually looks pretty solid, especially at home, because they know they have their backs up against the wall. I think Kerryon scores on the first drive and then just gets a lot of volume in the dump-off passing game. But needless to say, I do think that Ty Johnson will still be involved in this game. I think this game gets out of hand. I don't think it becomes a back-and-forth shootout. I think the Lions later on might score a little too late. Evan Ingram, 11 points, TJ Hawkinson. I like Ingram a lot. You like Ingram a lot, but I do think Hawkinson is a sneaky play here as well. But I'm going to go Evan Ingram, Marvin Jones, Mark Andrews, Chris Carson, Darrell Williams. Look, there was about 3 years ago I fell in love with Marvin Jones, and ever since then I've just been meh on him. The fact that Galladay busted and he proved that he still is a little bit fantasy worthy, I guess. But I am not buying Marvin Jones. I mean, Arizona only 4 targets, Chargers 6 targets, Philly 9 targets. So I mean, the flow chart is going up for his target production. I just feel like he's still a little too hard to trust at this point. Mark Andrews, if he plays, he should be fine. Darrell Williams is going to see a lot of work. McCoy, they need to pump the brakes on a little bit, in my personal opinion. Chris Carson. All right, this guy, I said it, new Ryan Matthews, bud. Talented, absolute beast, but he has a very short leash. He is such a good running back. It pains. It's like hard to take him out, but these fumbles, man, are going to kill his fantasy value. Chicago D, oh my God, against Kirk. I love it. Even though Indy against Oakland is a great one, I got to give the matchup to Harsh. Okay, bottom line is this. Okay, Johnny's team is going to get on a very big hot streak. I think Harsh's team puts up very serviceable numbers. The projection for Johnny at 144, I do feel like Johnny scores the most points this week. No, this is not a reverse psychology match thing where I'm going to jinx him, a voodoo trick. It's none of that. I absolutely love every single matchup that Johnny has in this. The only one that I think is not guaranteed is Marvin Jones because it could be Galladay. But in a game where you expect the Detroit Lions to be trailing in, somebody's going to get over the top, I would assume. Bottom line is Johnny and Harsh have a lot of stock in the Chiefs-Lions game, and that's a very good game to have a lot of stock. What the hell am I talking about? Interesting things, though, is that Chris Godwin is on the bench. I expect him to be active over Cole Beasley, and Will Fuller has yet to find a touchdown. Johnny, if you're tired of him, send him my way. Give me Jay. All right. This next matchup, there is a lot of history in this matchup. My, oh my, oh my. But I think this thing gets a little bit more interesting when, these teams are... One team's a coin flip. One team is a coin flip in this matchup, and the other team is riding high, and it's nice to see. It's nice to see because I do like a competitive match. All right, we know there's a ton of history behind these two teams, okay? Coaching tree started, Super Bowl, yours truly gets his first ring against this guy, but then the other kid, gets revenge by knocking out one of my better teams only to achieve his first ring. One team 1-2, the other team is 2-1. I'm talking about my team. I'm talking about Mac. Let's get into it. Bottom line is two guys went Thursday night, two Packers. Aaron Jones hit his projection at 14.8. Was a little nervous after the first touchdown because I felt like everything was going to go well. And then the Eagles' rush D is very, very good. And Max is 6 from Marquez Valdez-Scantling. From management decision, Max, I don't at all crack on you for that at all. I think with Hilton's hamstring injury, or no, quad, excuse me, you had to roll a guy in a deep threat matchup where, boop, if you know what I mean. Deshaun Watson. Look, Russ. Max, this is a great pick. The fantasy community this year was so down on Russell Wilson. It's like he's like, last year's news, man. Like, no, this team's going to run a billion times. Let me say this, guys, okay? Because, yes, there can be a team that's run first, but they can't run every freaking play. Now they have to rely a lot more on Russell Wilson with Chris Carson's fumbling issues. I think that with that being said alone, I do feel like Russell Wilson will finish in the top 5 for quarterback. Deshaun Watson, after an abysmal Week 2 performance, bounced back in a big way against the Chargers. He is at home against the Carolina Panthers. Watson is a magician out there. He's so fun to watch. Taking on Russell Wilson. This is a good quarterback matchup, or at least it should be on paper. You never know, guys. You never know what's going to happen with both these guys. It should be interesting. The only knock I would have but with Watson, you always get a little bit nervous if he takes too many sacks. Russell Wilson, I guess game script may be a little bit concerning. With Arizona, drives lasting either 5 minutes or 30 seconds, Seattle can control the pace of play and kill clock. That's always a little bit concerning, but I am not at all with the caliber of Russell Wilson and with no run game. Tyler Lockett, DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Tyler Boyd. Max, again, another fabulous pick. I liked Keenan Allen a lot because Melvin Gordon wasn't there. Melvin Gordon comes back. So I do think that the Chargers won't have to rely on him as much as they did, such as last week. Now, game script matchup against Miami. This is a very, 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 very good matchup for Keenan Allen. Let's be honest. Again, game script might concern me a little bit because the Chargers don't like airing it out unless they need to. They're a run-first team. And Austin Eckler's swan song as a starting running back, I think that could be a big Eckler week, but hey, you're not benching Keenan Allen, that's for sure. Whoa! My God, this guy, man, I wish I had taken my guy because I had this guy over Juju Smith-Schuster in December, and I know no, you didn't ask Mr. Coffee. I was big on this guy. Tyler Boyd projected for 14 against Pittsburgh, rightfully so. Though I am not like this team against the slot is very very vulnerable. I know they have Hayden and Fitzpatrick now, which is good, but I don't know what that says for Tyler Boyd. If Mike Hilton is still manned up against him, this is not a good matchup. Tyler Boyd, let's check the numbers, kid. 10, 17, 9. I like it. He's a floor guy. He's nice. This could be interesting because it's the cock block quarterback strategy. Tyler Lockett. Lockett Lockett has kind of transformed. It's almost like one game he's old school Tyler Lockett. Give me 4 targets, I'll catch one of them for a touchdown. And then the last 2 weeks, you saw a lot more of Doug Baldwin. Seattle is treating him like the number one option in the passing attack, and against Arizona with no Pat Pete, Lockett is the best playmaker that the Seattle Seahawks have. Tyler Lockett. So I would say that things could be promising. DJ Moore has been a really nice floor player, almost like Tyler Boyd in a sense, the 9, 13, 12. The only difference is he did it last week with a touchdown. Boyd does not have touchdowns. This is a game where I think it could go back and forth, shootout type of game. So maybe DJ Moore is involved. I know Samuel had a big game last week, so we don't have a good sample size yet with Kyle Allen, so I can't jump the gun on that. Aaron Jones dropped 14, so it's Nick Chubb against Baltimore, which is a terrible matchup. Ezekiel Elliott against New Orleans. Could be the coming out party for Zeke. I hope not, but hey, this is a really good matchup. And Leonard Fournette, who just continues to run into brick walls. Denver's D, there's no life. There's no life, man. There is absolutely no life in Ezekiel Elliott and Leonard Fournette. Oh, no. Excuse me. In Ezekiel Elliott, yes. Leonard Fournette, I've seen better days. Dawson Knox. Yeah, baby, that's where I get my wickies. Dawson Knox versus Darren Waller. I like the sneaky pickup, Max. Didn't think you would be on Dawson Knox. But let me tell you about this guy, Darren Waller, man. I mean, we saw this guy outside, man, and Derek Carr just, playing from garbage time, man. And I'm just looking at my play sheet, and I'm trying to find where's number 83, man. I mean, we want to dial this guy up on screens. We want to match him up against the, cornerbacks that are a lot smaller than him, man. I like this guy. Look, Darren Waller, bro. Like, look, call me what you want. Nick, you always tout these shitty Raiders players, and when you're going to realize they suck. But look. Darren Waller, if Jared Cook became tight end viable last year, you are now having a guy who is number one in target share for their team, and he is a converted wide receiver to a tight end. He's pretty much a wide receiver just learning the tight end spot. It's almost like a cheat code in Madden. I'm not saying that this guy is like the greatest thing since sliced bread, but you got to be encouraged what you're seeing from Darren Waller, and especially the Hard Knock story about his drug addiction. I mean, good for him, man. It's nice to see stories like that in the NFL. Smokey Brown, Phillip Lindsay, Sterling Shepard, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, who dropped 6. Sterling Shepard. Max is going to soon run that giant stack with Shepard and Golden Tate, and he can't wait. I didn't want to rhyme it there, but Shepard, positive matchup. I like that game to shoot out, by the way. Phillip Lindsay, newsflash, this guy's a good running back. He's going to get volume now. I know the 27-point performance is a little bit of an outlier, but on his worst days, he's getting 8 points, okay? He's still getting the lowest amount of carries he's had has been 11, and targets in the passing game, 6 targets, then it was 7 targets, then it was 5 targets. He is a good RB2. I know the matchup isn't what you would want because I do feel like Jacksonville just sends heat all game. This is an ugly game that I don't want to be a part of very much, but the amount of targets that this guy gets in the passing attack gives him a serviceable floor for fantasy football. John Brown scares the bejesus out of me, man. Let me tell you this. Coach DeFroja has not made his decision whether it's going to be Smokey Brown,
which is probably not going to be, but I have to decide, is Cortland Sutton going to get the start because he's been solid? And if we get word on Jalen Ramsey not playing, it could be enticing a little bit. But the guy I'm really looking at is a bit of a coin flip, but I do like Paul Richardson against the New York Giants, and I feel like he might get a spot start this week. I would want to start Dede Westbrook, but I don't like that matchup. I know Kareem Jackson is expected to be out, and what team am I talking about now, guys? The Broncos, I think Kareem Jackson is actually the slot guy, but Dede Westbrook, I think, is still working on his timing with Gardner Minshew walk. Shepard could have a big game, and if Lindsley can at least cancel the floor, I need somebody to beat 6 points. But because I'm undecided, I'm going to say it's a draw. Baltimore D, Denver D. On paper, these look like really, really good matchups. Baltimore got trounced by KC. I expect them with a really bad Cleveland offensive line to really get after Baker Mayfield and create some turnovers, to say the least. Keys to victory, because I don't do, because of the jinx factor and whatnot. Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson, these guys are good. Okay. Let's go to the max side of things. Keys to victory. Keenan Allen needs to be the vocal point, number 1. Ezekiel Elliott needs to get a lot of workload, number 2. And I think the other key to victory is Sterling Shepard needs to be heavily involved with Daniel Jones. Those could happen, assuming Russell Wilson does his thing. Keys to victory for Nicholas. Number 1 key to victory is, I feel like I'm going to put this guy on here. The key to victory, number 1, is if I have to pick one, Tyler Lockett needs to still be the vocal point of the Seattle passing attack, considering that Russell Wilson is playing against him in this matchup. Key to victory, number 2, I'm actually still going to go with I'm going to go with Nick Chubb, because I do feel like in a very bad matchup, he needs to hit his floor or at least come close to that. I know his usage last week was very encouraging. It would be really hard for me to envision a touchdown for him in this game, but he needs to get a solid floor to compete with Ezekiel Elliott, at least. And then my third key to victory would have to be garbage time. Garbage time leads to Darren Waller time. So I think those are big, big keys to victory for both teams. Should be an exciting matchup, and I look forward to it on Sunday. Ladies and gentlemen, all right, we got the best friend matchup. I'm putting this as my the second headliner of the week. I actually do feel like these matchups, I love it because they're best friends. It's a good storyline to have. I know one team 2-1 coming off of an amazing Cooper Kupp victory, and then the other one decided to kind of revamp the team a little bit. But man, oh man, I would have not sold Devontae Adams. But hey, let's see what happens. Nothing has happened yet. We got to see it, Paul. So let me break it down for you really quickly. Paul, I'm going to do a new segment with you now. Since you want every possible stock in the Kansas City Chiefs offense, I am going to put an over-under for you right now, okay? Kansas City Chiefs stack that Paul is going to run every single week. Over or under, and I'm going to set it at 50 points, okay? That's the game we're going to play, kid. Here's what we're going to do. You ready? See that this thing is still on. All right, yeah. Okay, here we go. I'm going to go over in this one. I think Pat Mahomes might drop 40. Kelsey is going to catch at least 1. McCoy, I don't know. I really have some concerns, to say the least. But all right, let's get into it. Pat Mahomes will outscore Carson Wentz. David will give you that one. Sammy Watkins, Cooper Kupp. What the fuck? Oh, I'm sorry. There was something on my it's just weird. I'll throw it out here now. There was something on my phone. It was like a crumb, and next to Adam Thielen's name, it said A+. That's weird. Adam Thielen, Calvin Ridley, Sammy Watkins, Cooper Kupp. Paul side of things. Adam Thielen. I know, Paul. I know you love those points. It's a steady floor, and I know you're looking at him, but don't expect that week in and week out of Adam Thielen. Calvin Ridley, this guy, definition of boomer bust. Big definition of boomer bust. Weeks 1 and 2,
looking solid, and then wow, one pointer. Um, Something that is a little bit concerning with Calvin Ridley. Why on God's green earth would you go to the press? Somebody interviews and says, "Why did you struggle?" And the guy says, it's really hard to get open against zone coverage." What? What? Why are you going out? It's for the world to hear that, dude. Like, seriously. Now, granted, is Frank Reich a good coach? Yeah, but you're already telling the world that I can't play against zone coverage, and I'm just a deep threat who's a man-to-man beater. Like, bro, what? I really, really would be concerned about that. I'm not. This is not a reverse psychology tactic, Paul, for you to sell your whole team low to somebody else. But we'll wait and see what happens. I don't want to jump to any conclusions, but why would he do that? He should have at least rephrased it. I mean, he should have been out there and at least said, their game plan was to take me out of the game. Or that would sound a little bit better instead of saying it's really hard to get open against zone coverage. Do you see the difference in how you say both those things, Calvin? I hope it was that, and he just doesn't know how to word some stuff. Here we go. All right. Sorry to get off track. Sammy Watkins has duds the last 2 weeks, but he's getting the target volumes. Darius Slay is out. I think Sammy Watkins gets off the schneid. Cooper Kupp, look, good pick. Look, I gotta say one thing right now, man. This is I think I'm starting to believe in McVay's system. Cooper Kupp bails out Jared Goff all the time. Simple fact. This guy has a good floor. I'm going with Watkins and Cooper Kupp in this one, although I do feel like Ridley has a chance to score. Tennessee likes to play a lot of man coverage and mix in zones when it's third and long, but that would be my theory. LaShawn McCoy, Carlos Hyde, David Jansen, Josh Jacobs. Look, I know you have McCoy and you want to be invested in the Chiefs offense, and I think he should play, and that's fine. I don't know how much. My thing is this: I don't know how much Kansas City feels comfortable with running the ball. To be quite honest, because they can pass all over everybody. David Johnson, Josh Jacobs, David Johnson. Okay, Dave. 22, 7, 15. David Johnson in the air raid is getting a serviceable floor, and that's what a lot of people passed on, and I think you got gifted in it. Josh Jacobs, man. 23, 9, and 4. Yep. This was my concern with Josh Jacobs coming in. I think running back volume from an NFL standpoint, he's going to get, but it does not translate into fantasy production because he's not involved in the passing game. He has one target, and Gruden coach speak, I don't know if you want to buy it or not, but he says we need to give this guy more looks in the passing game. I still don't buy it. Rashard caught 80 passes last year. The Raiders have to be up in this game, which 100% is not going to be happening. I am concerned with Josh Jacobs' outlook for the season end. Unless they totally phase out Jalen Rashard, and I don't see that happening. And now DeAndre Washington is getting touches. So I don't like it at all, but I like David Johnson over McCoy, and Carlos Hyde and Josh Jacobs are the same player, so give me David. Zachary Ertz has 10. Can Delaney, Old Man, Walker do that against the Falcons? I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say he keeps it close, so a draw. Kelsey versus James Conner. Kelsey by 1,000,000. DK Metcalf versus Larry Fitzgerald in a game where both of them are going to be playing. Fitzgerald has been so nice in this air raid. But DK Metcalf, I like the talent. Paul likes the talent. The situation remains to be a coin flip a little bit. I think this guy is the only thing that they're going to have him run is fades and go routes because that's the best thing that he can do. The only thing that I would say concerning is his target share with David Moore being back in it. But I think that this guy is supposed to be one of their future assets. So, hey, Minnesota, Jacksonville, give me. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Ooh, tough one. Minnesota's defense should be fine against Trubisky, but Jacksonville against Denver, I like a lot. Bottom line, I'm going to go with David in a must-win last week. I know Mahomes. The thing that's going to piss David off is if Mahomes, McCoy, and Travis Kelce combine for like 6 or 7 touchdowns. Paul might be able to win the week right there. What we're seeing right now out of Paul is that he's at least breaking 100 because of Mahomes, but everybody else has to hit. But that's a lot to ask for, so I got to go with David. Welcome back, friends and family, or mostly just friends. This is the matchup I'm going to put up as the matchup of the week. I am playing the respect card due to records. We have a 3-0 team taking on a 2-1 team. I don't really have a big confidence feel for both of these teams, though, and I'll explain what I mean by that. Rob Coffey has gone 3 straight wins. Okay, I think the only one that I think you could have made was debatable was the Max Mandel, but I don't like playing that game too much. So really the record could be, his record should be where it's at. Bottom line is I think it should be either 2-1 or 3-0. Bottom line, it's a winning record team. Absolutely. Flip side, Love Jones, Andre Jones. Okay, this team is 2-1, but there are a lot of concerns early on. You could play. It could either be Andre 2-1 or my team being 2-1 due to that decimal point matchup. No matter how you look at it. Sorry, I can't speak right now. There are some things that I am not really with both of these teams. The one major flaw I think you're looking at is running backs. And then the question you have to ask yourself is, okay, if their running backs aren't producing, do they have the wide receivers to back it up? And I'm going to say one team is a definite yes. I'm going to say that the other team I'm a little bit concerned on. So with that being said, I don't think that this is a slam dunk shootout. Let's get into it. Okay, Lamar's going to drop 45. Tom Brady will drop 20 next. Julio Jones, Odell Beckham, DeAndre Hopkins, Juju Smith-Schuster. We have a lot to talk about in this breakdown of the matchup. Look, DeAndre Hopkins, if there's ever a time where he is due against the Carolina Panthers. This guy might have his 2-touchdown game. I know Rob Coffey, we have spoken on the phone about this matchup, and he's like, yeah, I know this is going to happen. This scares the crap out of me, man. It's going to happen. So, hey, might happen. Juju Smith-Schuster, look, man, you can't sell this guy. This guy, you're just going to have to force hold the whole season, but this is not a good look for him at all with Mason Rudolph. I am legit. My concern level for Juju Smith-Schuster out of a 10, I would say it's out of 7. I don't think that it sucks now too because the organization, what Pittsburgh's doing, and I think I touched on this a little bit, is that they want him in the slot because they don't want him to feel discouraged on the outside. And if he can't win, it's going to linger on in his brain next season. And it's partially because they don't believe in Mason Rudolph right now. So you hide them in the slot to hide their flaws for next season. Pittsburgh knows, I don't care if they traded for Minkah Fitzpatrick. They're done. Don't reveal your full hand this season. Just go out and see what you have in the other guys with Deontay Johnson and James Washington, but keep Juju in the slot like he's always been. But the problem is when you have guys that aren't doing it on the outside, the slot guys to double team suck when they're the alpha, a.k.a. Jarvis Landry last year, Adam Thielen when Stephon Diggs went down, and now I think you're seeing the same happen with Juju Smith-Schuster. The only way I feel like that touchdown, that was a schematic play. Wheel routes and pick routes, you have to force him to get open, but you can't run wheel routes every play. You have to schematically scheme them in, sprinkle them in. That's why they're big plays, and I don't trust that from happening. On the opposite end, Julio Jones, Odell Beckham, I think both should eat plenty in this game. A lot of analysts are saying that Odell Beckham is the reason or one of the reasons why Baker is struggling because Baker now has a guy he's forced to stare down. Maybe that's the case. Maybe that is the case. But the talent like Odell Beckham against I don't even know if Jimmy Smith is playing. The answer is probably no. He's always a threat to take one to the house. Could happen.
Jet Jones, Julio Jones. Okay, this guy has been worth every single penny Rob Coffey has spent on him. So I like that a lot. Then when you go back to the running backs, Miles Sanders dropped 10, 3, 7, 13, 10. The fantasy production is going up. The one thing that is a bit concerning is Jordan Howard had a career game. Dude, I don't know. The bottom line is this: I don't trust Doug Pederson in his running back situation. I feel like Miles Sanders by default is a high end RB3, low end RB2 if things pick up. Wayne Gallman, all right. You want to chase point? No, I'm just kidding. I didn't even know this guy. Why did he have 11 points week 1? He scored. All right, I didn't even know that. Wayne Gallman, okay. Good thing is he's been playing with Daniel Jones in the backup team, so he kind of knows something about Daniel Jones. You might just be getting low-end RB2 production. Still a Giants running back, and not named Saquon Barkley. Mark Ingram, James White. Mark Ingram with 3 touchdowns sealed the victory for Mr. Jones. This guy, the offense that he's in and the volume that he's going to get is going to make him look really, really good. And I get that. And Cleveland is not very good. So I like this matchup. James White, this could be a James White week, guys. If you're reading the reports, offensive line is dinged up. Sony Michel is looking pretty bad. My only concern, and this is why I didn't take James White, is that Rex Burkhead did not get cut in the season, and I thought he was just an afterthought. You drafted Damian Harris. You had Sony Michel. You have James White, who's going to stay there for as long as he wants to. Why is Rex Burkhead still on this team? And the bottom line is this. He's a Bill Belichick type of player. He doesn't do anything wrong, and you can put him in any role. You can put him in the Michel role. You can put him in the James White role when one of them is out. And that's why Mr. Rex Burkhead, okay, is still part of this team. And I feel like because of that, that's going to limit James White's snaps. The best thing you can have as a James White owner is that they just completely say to themselves, we've got to abandon the run. We have to go dink and dunk and be more balanced rather than this run first, no huddle stuff. And then Andre, that's a double win for you because you got Tom Brady. Amari Cooper and DeMarcus Cuckoo Robinson taking on Robert Woods, Tyrell the Gazelle Williams. No relation to Alan Williams. Robert Woods, look, a lot of people think this is the game he could break out because of it, but look, Cooper Kupp is fully unleashed, and this is what happens. Carolina, he had 13 targets, and I was saying to myself, wow, man, that's a lot. New Orleans, 2 targets. Cleveland, 8. I don't like Robert Woods because I know the target share is going to be there, but you don't know what you're going to get out of him. The guys that are inconsistent boomer bust like that are like deep threats, and Woods isn't one. Cooper Kupp's your safest bet. Brandon Cooks has his role. Robert Woods does not have a role now because of Cooper Kupp. Robert Woods is, if he's open, throw it to him kind of guy. But this is not a bad matchup for him at all. So maybe if it doesn't happen this week, it's a bit concerning as a Robert Woods owner. Stephon Diggs finally hits the bench. That's not good. Tyrell Williams against the Indianapolis Colts. Williams is the number 2 option behind Darren Waller. So last week was a bad match. Fully understand why he wasn't in the lineup. Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper's the real deal, guys. DeMarcus Robinson, I think he has another terrific game. Matt Patricia, here's my philosophy on this. Matt Patricia, okay, he comes from the Belichick School of Coaching, and no, he's not Bill Belichick. He tries to be Belichick, but he's not. Bill Belichick does a lot of bracket coverage and has people eye down one guy. If Matt Patricia is worried about Sammy Watkins because Darius Slay's health is not at 100%, if he's out, give me DeMarcus Robinson. I know logic would say Sammy Watkins, but here's the deal. Matt Patricia is going to run a lot of double teams on Sammy Watkins, leaving somebody open in the middle of the field. DeMarcus Robinson could be that guy. But with Pat Mahomes at quarterback, it's very hard for you to pick your poison. I think that the Matt Patricia scheme might actually be cover 1. And what I mean by that is that everybody's going to be manned up, and it's up for the corners to make a play. One of the safeties is going to have to drop down, cover up the middle of the field. So with that being said, Robinson is going to be open on a few crossing routes, but I don't think the volume will be there. Hardman, I think one-on-one
they're going to get the matchup that they like. So it's a coin flip, but I do feel like Robinson, any of these Chiefs guys is going to score pretty much. Oh, Chargers D by Rob Coffey. Look at that. Seattle against Arizona. I think I have my sights set on a winner. I think DeAndre Hopkins has a great game. Mark Ingram still delivers, but the X factor for this guy to take over. Oh, I skipped over the tight ends. I'm sorry, but Greg Olsen. Wow. Okay, maybe he is back. But I love the Eric Ebron call this week with an unhealthy T.Y. Hilton. He's a lock for at least one touchdown. Greg Olsen, really good. So keys to victory for Andre. James White show needs to happen. Tom Brady needs to throw him a touchdown. Robert Woods needs to get off the schneid too. And DeAndre Hopkins for Mr. Coffee. The fact that you're worried about your running backs and you got 10 from Sanders and Gallman might hit 10 again. Look at these matchups. I mean, Beckham is in the worst matchup maybe out of them, but like with no Jimmy Smith, Beckham could take one to the house. I think NWO Coffee reigns supreme 4-0.